Hello, everyone. Now, here's some brief history of Chuck Norris. He actually trained with Bruce Lee himself, and he won many awards in karate. Then he got into acting, and he did like Delta Force and some other movies that I can't quite remember, because he did some war pictures, and war pictures to me are a hit and miss. But there is one particular movie that he did that I would have loved to have seen the sequel, and it's on Prime, and I'm surprised. It's a very underrated movie. It's called Silent Rage. And honestly, it should have been set at Christmas time. It wasn't, though. He's a small town sheriff, and he has a deputy kind of like Barney Fife. If you remember the Andy Griffin Show, if you're old like me, you probably might remember the Andy Griffin Show. Kind of like a goofy type deputy in a small town, and Chuck Norris is wearing kind of like the cowboy hat, and he makes peace in the town, and he's quite good at his job. And this movie opens up not with Chuck Norris, though. It opens up with a man that is kind of losing it, and he's phoning somebody, and he's like, "Please help me, I can't handle this anymore," and he's holding his pills. And then he hangs up the phone, he goes outside, he starts axing wood, and the kids are acting up, his wife is yelling, and he just grabs an axe and he kills them all. And then Chuck Norris comes, the sheriff comes, and there's this big thing that goes on, and he gets shot, and he is dying. But he's now in a laboratory where they're testing certain chemicals, certain things, and they put it in him. And that's where the silent rage comes from. He's already angry, and they're putting something in him that's experimental, that brings him back to life. This is the only movie that I know that Chuck Norris did that was an action horror, and it was really well done too. Lots of gore, no CGI, because this was 1982. It was a great movie, well put together, and yes, I had some issues with it. I felt 15 minutes, an hour and a half would have suited it. I get where they were going with this romance, because he had this romance with this woman. Chuck Norris had a romance with a woman. They carried it on a little too far. I got the picture right away, even with the dialogue, so they didn't have to take it to the next level. So that there, and then the experiment, like he escapes, kind of like a dead zombie. I'm not going to tell you any more than that, but the action sequences are incredible. And on top of that going on, he also has a motorcycle gang coming to town. A motorcycle gang coming to town. They're coming to a small town to rave havoc on the small town. Can Chuck Norris take them? Yes. The opening sequence of him taking down the guy is incredible. And even the scenes with the motorcycle gang, and even him fighting this guy with rage. And I'm not going to tell you, there's something also more special about him, but I'm not going to tell you. That drug more than just brought him back from the dead. And then there's Mad Scientist. And they're definitely actors you're going to recognize. It's a really well put together show, and I would have loved to have seen a sequel to that. And actually, it would have been kind of cool to see a kind of like a TV series, because later on, Chuck Norris did Texas Ranger. And they were supposed to do one last movie, but apparently it just never happened. So if you ever watched Texas Ranger, I think that was on for like 8 years, and then they did like 2-3 movies, but they also didn't end it properly. Unfortunately, the last movie should have led into one last movie, and it didn't happen. Now Chuck Norris is retired on a farm with his wife, I believe. And he's still married. He's with his wife, and he doesn't want to do too much anymore. He doesn't want to take too much away from his farm. He gets up early. He, takes care of the farm and the animals and his horse riding. He doesn't want to do too much anymore. Don't blame him. He's done a lot of movies, TV series, a lot of competitions, and he got into even some comedy, some kid shows with a dog, kind of like Turner and Hooch. I just can't remember what his was called. and that was actually a funny comedy too. But Chuck Norris, Silent Rage is my favorite film of his by far. Delta Force 2 would probably be second, but it's a really good movie because I like mad scientists, I like experimental things, great acting, well put together. Just 15 minutes could have been taken out. All right, everyone, bye for now, and check out my channels and my other shows, and adios, and thank you again.